I probably was a maybe too harsh on the Kings, and I want to be very clear about this. Domas Sabonis is a really good basketball player. Clearly, he's an all-star. It just doesn't move the needle for the Kings at all, though. I don't. Again, he doesn't shoot threes. De'Aaron Fox doesn't shoot threes. They got Harrison Barnes basically that can space the floor. I don't know how this is going to sort of work in terms of getting them where into the play-in game. Is that the goal here?
This is some form of malpractice on the Kings' part.
Okay, so JJ, who won this trade?
Oh, the Pacers clearly won this trade.
Yeah.
The Pacers clearly won this.
We spoke earlier this season about accountability, and I just want to be accountable for some things that I said at the trade deadline last year. Now, in the context of the trade deadline, I didn't like the trade. I should not have used the word malpractice. What they did this offseason, they bring in Mike Brown, they add a ton of shooting. Kevin Huerter, they add Malik Monk, they draft Keegan Murray, they put the ball exclusively in De'Aaron Fox's hands, they use Sabonis as a hub. It is so fun to watch, and so much of that has been the offseason. But I was wrong.
You know, compared to other analysts like Stephen A. or Kendrick Perkins, JJ Redick isn't too bad, because generally, he knows what he's saying and tries to back it up since he has played the game, and most of the time, his takes and predictions are pretty solid. So, having him apologize for talking smack against the Kings from a year ago only proves that this current Sacramento Kings team is truly doing something special. Special in the sense that they're playing at an all-time high. See, here's a list of teams with the highest offensive ratings in NBA history. And on top of the mountain, there's the current Kings averaging almost 120 points this season in terms of offensive rating, which is totally unprecedented, coming from a team that hasn't tasted or even sniffed the playoffs in the last 16 years. So how did this laughingstock of a team become an offensive juggernaut overnight? Well, to answer that, let's take a quick rewind.
Indiana Pacers continue to make moves. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reports Indiana trading Domantas Sabonis, Justin Holiday, and Jeremy Lamb to the Sacramento Kings for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson.
So, at the trade deadline last year, the Kings pulled a blockbuster trade that headlined their rising star, Tyrese Halliburton, going to the Pacers, packaged along with their three-point specialist Buddy Hield, in exchange for the double-double machine, Domantas Sabonis, pinning in the hopes that this move would help them for a final playoff push before the season ended. At the time of the trade, lots of people thought that this was a brain fart move on the part of the Kings, since Halliburton was already showing signs of being an all-star. And on the other hand, Sabonis failed to carry the Kings into the playoffs as he only led them to 9 wins right after the trade to end their season, with a 30-52 win-loss record. Despite this, the first piece of the puzzle was already in place. Now, during the offseason, the Kings' restructuring continued. This time, though, it was around the man manning the sidelines. And after shuffling between Luke Walton and Alvin Gentry, they brought in former Coach of the Year Mike Brown, along with his vast championship experience, serving as an assistant coach for the Golden State Warriors in the last 7 years. Looking to replicate the success that he had with the Warriors, Brown mirrored the Dubs lineup by adding some long-range firepower in the backcourt. First, they drafted the sweet shooting big man out of Iowa, Keegan Murray. Then they traded for the Hawks sniper Kevin Huerter. And finally, they signed the athletic guard Malik Monk, after having a breakout season with the Lakers the year prior. This roster shakeup was definitely more than needed to infuse new life into this dying franchise. But amidst all the big moves they pulled, there was one key guy who the Kings didn't let go. And the guy that I'm talking about is De'Aaron Fox. The Kings drafted him in 2017. And since then, Fox has experienced nothing but failure, season after season. Despite this, though, the Kings still believed that he was the man that could carry them over the hump. So much so that they let the blossoming Halliburton go just to keep him happy. With a new coach and the fresh faces that they added in the offseason, the reinvigorated Kings were looking to at least play decently this season, to somehow, try and prove the haters wrong. But boy, oh boy, no one expected that this new-look Kings team would be this crazy good.
Yeah, Coach, on the topic of the De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis pairing, what do you think that they do really well right now, and what areas do you think that they can continue to improve as their careers continue?
Well, obviously, as a tandem in the pick and roll, they're very, very good. They're not probably a top three combination in the league right now, so that's a given. Now you couple that, like I said, with Fox's speed and Sabonis' ability to pass, and it just gives you different ways to play. You know, you get a lot of different ways that you can play the game of basketball, and I'm a firm believer in paint touches, and you can get paint touches a lot of ways. You can put Sabonis on the post, and he can facilitate from there. Anytime you get a paint touch, you collapse the defense so you can facilitate from there. And then you can also spread that floor out and tell Foxy to get in that paint and finish and or distribute. And so I'm excited about those two guys and doing a lot of different things offensively.
As you heard in that press conference interview, the Kings' new offense would pretty much run through the tandem of Fox and Sabonis, while the complementary pieces would spread out the floor and knock down shots when needed. Now, one of the main principles of this offensive philosophy is that there should always be a key guy who initiates the first action, and as Mike Brown said, that guy is going to be Sabonis. See, during their early offense, Sabonis would often bring down the ball as soon as he grabbed the defensive board to set up the shooters like Herter, coming off a dribble handoff. And if the defender goes under or gets pinned under the screen, then the shooters won't hesitate to let it fly. Here it is again, a dribble handoff, a simple brush screen, the defender goes under, cash money. This is just one of their simple set plays that they often use when the defense hasn't set up, but during half-court sets. The Kings often run more complicated sets to make the defense work harder. Here's Sabonis yet again, but this time, he's anchoring around the high post. And as you can see, Herter is looking for some split action by establishing a screen. However, this was apparently just a decoy, as Herter sneakily slides inside, and Sabonis rewards him with a sweet dime, leading to an easy layup. As expected, the Kings run similar schemes and patterns to the Warriors when it comes to their offense, like the split action and other complicated sets. But at the end of the day, most plays in their playbook are predicted with the read and react concept. I mean, look at this play. Coming off a dribble handoff, Murray passes the ball to Mitchell, who then forwards it to Sabonis for the initial entry pass. The split action in the corner turns into a dribble handoff for Monk. Then he swings it outside to Mitchell, who immediately attacks the rim. At this point, the Lakers' defense already collapsed, and they just kept running the same action until they found the open man. With Sabonis acting as the fulcrum of the Kings' offense, he transformed into a legit point forward this season, and he's only one out of two big men to be included in top 10 of assists, as he averaged 7.3 dimes this season. And as Mike Brown emphasized earlier that he would like to get as many inside touches as possible when it comes to running their offense, the Kings were able to execute this one, because they are ranked in the top 5, not only when it comes to paint touches, but also in elbow touches as well. But anyways, aside from the stellar play of Sabonis, the true difference maker this season for the Kings was the evolution of De'Aaron Fox. After playing mediocre basketball for the last 5 seasons, Fox has elevated his game to an all-star level this season, averaging 25 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 6.1 assists while shooting 51.2% from the field. ESPN analyst Brian Windhorst has taken a closer look at Fox's incredible growth this season, and here's what he has to say about his evolving offensive game, especially during clutch time.
When they move into clutch time, De'Aaron Fox is so comfortable.
Takes over.
They don't even really have to work that hard to get him good shots, and he's so comfortable. It was kind of interesting the way he was playing against Chris Paul last night, and yet victimizing Chris Paul and just getting 17-footers whenever he wanted them.
It was Chris Paul on him, huh?
He gets to the mid-range, you got trouble. And the reason everyone's sort of scared of him is because he's so fast that when he gets any space, the game plan is get back and protect. And so he's just he had been developing that push shot earlier in his career to sort of overcome his size differential. Now he's got that mid-range. Man, they get easy shots really, really easily. And look,
here's what Windhorst said working in action. Down by 2, Fox takes on this big moment by initially breaking down Schroeder, and despite the heavy pressure, Fox was still able to get to his spot before calmly knocking down this tough mid-range bucket with a hand in his face. Fox had ice in his veins during crunch time this season, and with that said, he led the league in clutch points when he scored a total of 194 points in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, or overtime, when the game was decided within 5 points. And because of his clutch performance during late games, Fox has recently been named as the inaugural winner of the Clutch Player of the Year award. with both Sabonis and Fox getting nominated as All-Stars, and the role guys like Murray, Herter, Barnes, and Monk hitting their shots at a consistent rate from the outside. The Kings have built a high-octane, free-flowing offense that is simply unstoppable, and this same offense has propelled them to the postseason by finishing third in the West. And at last, the 16-year playoff curse is finally broken.
I think Golden State win the series. I really do. Because I believe they're going to find a way to steal a road game and win this series. I think they find a way to get it done. I think they win in 7. I say they're going to win. I think Golden State win the series.
This Kings team has been good to very good all year.
They won 48 games. Slow down.
Bro.
I mean, we're acting like, oh, they won 60.
No.
They won 48 games. In fact, you know what? They won 4 more games than the Warriors, who were with. See, here's a big thing about the Kings, and I like them. They've had a great year. I don't think you take them lightly, but they're not going to beat the Warriors. They won 4 more games because they had their best players. Kings just can't. Not this year.
No. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Light that beam! Light the beam, baby!
Despite the disrespect that they've been getting from the mainstream media, the Kings are continuously proving them wrong by lighting the beam with every win. They recently shocked the NBA by coming up big against the Warriors in the first round of the playoffs, with 2 back-to-back wins, and based on their recent performance, this Sacramento Kings team is not going to be having a Cinderella type of run that will eventually fall short. No, no, no. This Kings squad is all about business and are here to stay. So, who's your favorite player on this Kings team and why? Let us know in the comments below. Besides the Kings, the NBA media has been making some ridiculous takes for a while now. But just like the Beam team, Jokic has exposed the media time and time again by putting up crazy numbers and playing like an MVP. If you want to know more, click this video right here. Go ahead, it's free.